Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar, Keeping Your Business Operating Remotely. My name is Glendin and I'm the Technology Consulting Manager here at Diamond IT. Today's session will be recorded and available for distribution to your team. So today we'll be focusing on making sure your business can operate effectively from remote and disparate locations. To give you a short overview, we'll specifically be discussing cyber and data security, how your team can continue to effectively communicate, and how they securely access your corporate system when working from home. We'll also cover a few important policy considerations, such as working from home, explore some key parts of those policies to avoid issues into the future, and touch base on how to assess the strength of your current business continuity plan. So to kick off, let us start by exploring some very important cyber security considerations. Now, just because we're in a pandemic at the moment doesn't mean cyber criminals are taking a break from attacking your systems. It's actually quite the opposite. Unfortunately, we've seen a large increase in cyber criminal activity taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation. So we need to ensure staff remain vigilant with regards to cyber security and data protection. At a minimum, this may mean online cyber awareness training and the implementation of additional security measures such as multi-factor authentication to strengthen your cyber defences. Remember, all of these things can be set up remotely by your IT team. So I wanted to show you some of the examples we've been seeing from these attacks. Now you can see how in a time of so much uncertainty, someone could easily mistake a text from Westpac or an email from the World Health Organization as the real deal, clicking a malicious link that could cripple your organization's systems. I don't need to tell you, but that would be an absolute disaster. Now, the next thing we need to consider is capacity. How many of you will ever have had this many people working remotely at the same time before? We are currently seeing systems being impacted by the sharp increase in use. Making sure people have enough licenses, bandwidth, and equipment for your staff to work from home is really important. Now, just because your team is no longer operating from within your office doesn't mean you can forget your responsibilities around workplace health and safety. So consider sending out an employee working from home self-checklist for staff to assess their own working environments. Include recommendations on how they can adjust their chair and their screen heights, for example. Ensure they understand the importance of this process and that they know who to speak to in your organisation if they do not have access to the correct equipment. Failure to do this can cause work health safety issues, such as workers' compensation claims, for example, for your business further down the track if employees are expected to work from home for extended periods of time. So we acknowledge most people already have home internet these days. However, this might come with some limitations when working from home, where data limits may be reached or slow internet load times may impact their ability to work. One of the major considerations for home internet is that it's often shared across multiple devices at the same time. For example, both parents are now working from home as well as their kids. Consider the impacts of streaming services such as Netflix or Disney Plus may have on your home internet usage. These services often consume significant amounts of bandwidth and can cause severe lagging and slow load times when using corporate systems such as video conferencing or making calls via your cloud voice system. Supporting your remote workforce is more than just checking to make sure their screens are adjusted correctly and their internet is working well. As we move towards finding a new normal for our workdays, your team will probably experience a range of issues that may never have been experienced before, some of which we've already spoken about. Can you use the same support processes as you currently have in place? Or do you need to develop and communicate a modified process for getting IT support, HR support, or admin support perhaps? Now, I acknowledge policies are often forgotten, and that's understandable when there's so much more to consider. How many of you don't have a current working from home policy? What about an acceptable IT usage policy? I'm going to take a guess and say that you won't be wanting your remote workers to be using company equipment for Facebook and YouTube when they're done with the working day. Your job as a business leader will be to ensure all staff understand and acknowledge the policy and their responsibilities as part of that. Policy applications don't just change because you're working from home. So one thing we've been seeing a lot of is when businesses have sent their teams home to work remotely, they set their screens and their chairs up, they sit down ready to work, and then they realize, how the heck am I going to take phone calls? Unfortunately, this consideration is often overlooked in the rush to get workplaces set up remotely. In the situation of a full COVID-19 lockdown, you'll need to understand how this will work, especially if you don't have a cloud-based phone system. Consider your plans for answering calls and routing calls to avoid a pain in the future, and make sure your staff are trained. Cloud voice systems allow you to connect to your customers from absolutely anywhere. Whether a desk phone, mobile or laptop, cloud voice solutions now include some really great features like call handling, instant messaging, presence, and conference calling. To give you a little more information on this, I'd like to use Diamond IT's dCloud voice solution as an example. Our dCloud voice infrastructure easily scales with your business to ensure you have the exact technology you need as you need it. dCloud Voice replaces the need to have a traditional phone system on site in your office, and our secure environment gives you the peace of mind that the lines of communication with your customers remain open. In plain English, dCloud Voice is a solution that can be quickly set up for your remote workforce so that they remain connected to each other and to your customers through their device of choice, such as a soft phone installed on their PC or laptop, or even the app installed on their smartphone. Cloud voice solutions literally interact like you've never left the office, placing and transferring calls as normal. This will provide confidence to your customers that your business continues to run smoothly. Now, I'll talk a little bit about collaboration. Collaboration over the coming months is going to be one of the key considerations for employers to ensure their staff remain engaged and motivated. The use of mobile phones or systems such as Microsoft Teams to communicate internally will also be more important than ever. Ask yourself, how will your staff remain in contact with each other? How will you be holding virtual meetings or video conferences? Does your team have a way to chat internally other than emails? And how will they securely be able to share files to work on projects together? If you have existing collaboration tools, do staff know how to use them effectively, or do they need some training? So what you're seeing on your screen now is the standard chat window in Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a fantastic tool to use anytime, but now more than ever, Teams is playing an important role in keeping businesses collaborating. One of the key components of my role is Microsoft Teams training for organizations, and I want to share with you some helpful tips to get people up and running with Teams quickly. When you click on Chat in the far left of your screen, you'll notice a few options available. If you want to send an individual or group message, click the New Message button and enter the name of the person or persons you wish to chat with, and then start typing your message down the bottom of the screen. If you want to alert an individual in a chat group, put an @ symbol before their name and it will send them an alert via Teams. This is called a mention. If you want to video or audio call someone or a group, or even share your screen with a group, use these buttons at the top right of the screen. Use the toolbar at the bottom of your screen to change fonts, attach files, and even insert emojis or GIF images into the session. And when you're ready to click send, the send button is here. And finally, your previous chat sessions will be listed on the left of the chat screen here. Now let's talk about some common working from home scenarios, and I'll discuss some solutions to the issues we uncover. This is Joe. Joe has never worked from home before. Joe uses a desktop PC and a desk phone at work, and everything Joe uses on that PC is at work. How will we get Joe up and running from home quickly? What equipment does Joe need? Now, a laptop is a great way to get people up and running quickly. Adding an extra monitor, keyboard, and mouse also makes a big difference. Joe already has a laptop at home. Could he possibly use that? Or does he need to take his work PC home? Each presents their own scenarios. How about Joe's working environment? That checklist we talked about earlier is a great place to start. Have Joe assess his own environment using the checklist to allow him to ask for assistance if he needs it and get sign off from Joe to say he's happy with his own working environment. It will be unlikely that a proper work health safety assessment will be possible. It's everyone's responsibility to do the best with what they have and to keep staff healthy and safe. How can we help Joe assess his home internet service? Perhaps we could offer to subsidise an upgrade if necessary. In most cases, this can be done within a few days and without the need for an on-site visit. Remember the impact streaming services such as Netflix can have on the performance of an internet connection, and make sure Joe understands this and takes the appropriate action. Making sure Joe has a secure connection is critical. Now more than ever, cyber criminals are looking for ways to attack your networks, so consider multi-factor authentication and having Joe do some online cyber training so he can remain vigilant. What about collaboration tools? Joe may need help installing Microsoft Teams on his laptop, or he could use the web version of that in the short term. Any of these options, Diamond IT will be able to help with. Meet Michelle. Michelle occasionally works from home. Michelle uses her home PC and when she needs to work from home. What things should we consider for Michelle? Well, when was the last time Michelle tested her internet connection? Perhaps your organisation has never had this many people working from home before, and you need to consider if your current remote access environment is able to handle this amount of workload. Do you have enough licenses to access systems remotely? And does staff have the right tools to work from home long term, such as extra screens, keyboards, or mice? Does Michelle need to be reminded of your organisation's working from home policy? How will Michelle access information and systems from home is very different to being in the office. If Michelle uses a shared home PC, simple things like making sure she logs off on her screen, or when she's not using it, she logs off when she's finished for the day. These are really important things when you're working from home. Now, Michelle is a project manager. How is she going to remain connected to your customers and be able to take their calls while working from home? Will your receptionist be able to transfer calls directly to Michelle? Again, consider how cloud voice solutions could support Michelle to deliver her projects and communicate with her customers. Here's Rob. Rob works from home at least once a week, so it's safe to say Rob has a fairly good setup already. However, consider this. Is Rob able to print information at home? Making sure Rob keeps sensitive paperwork secure if essential, is essential. Same goes for information Rob accesses and views on his screen. Can anyone else walk past and see what this information is? What does Rob have to do when he leaves his computer? A reminder to lock Rob's screen or log off when he leaves his computer at home is a great idea. At work, you may have specialized tools, equipment to protect your corporate network against cyber attack. Does staff have the equivalent protection at home? Up-to-date antivirus and anti-malware software on any computer they use to access work information is critical and must be in place. You may want to consider providing hardware such as a universal threat management device to protect the physical aspects of their home network. How about Rob's physical working environment? Can it sustain use over an unknown period of time? Are there any ergonomic improvements that could be made or might help Rob? It's worth having the discussion and having Rob do the self-assessment we spoke about earlier. Lastly, how is Rob sharing files he's working on with his team? Is this platform secure and fit for purpose? Diamond IT is predominantly working from home. We use dCloud Voice to manage all our incoming and outgoing calls, including the calls we make to customers and including the calls we take from customers to our IT support desk. We use Microsoft Teams to stay in touch with our colleagues and Microsoft SharePoint online to collaborate on documents. Here at Diamond IT, we are all successfully keeping our business operating remotely. So finally, how can we help? If you're already a Diamond IT customer, please speak with your business technology manager or myself to discuss any gaps in your organization's working from home setup. If you're not a current Diamond IT customer, please do give us a call to talk about how we can help you out. Look, thanks very much for your time today. I know this is a really stressful time for everybody, certainly personally and professionally. We're all going through a lot at the moment and there's so much uncertainty. I think just as a parting thought, some of my reflections on what's happening at the moment, we need to use these systems to make sure our staff not only keep working, but they're also motivated and remain positive. I know working in our office environment at the moment, there's hardly anybody here. We're trying our best to connect up with people via video and audio conference more than we ever did. So just keep that in mind as well, that personal side of things. We encouraged our staff to send some photos of their working environment in and share that sort of thing. And we'll continue to do that just to keep engaged with people. So that's just a really important consideration. But thank you very much for your time.